how do I focus on you?
Hello, Mart. How are you?
Nicholas, Nicholas, how are you?
Very good, very good. It's been a morning, right? Like IT and all that stuff. Like the beauty of technology, not always quite straightforward working.
No, it's been a morning, but I'm excited. It's a Friday. We got a lot to talk about.
Absolutely.
Uh, Nicholas, before we get started, tell us what we're gonna cover, and then I'll tell us who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, today we're going to be talking about four interesting topic that we curated for you. The new search ad on TikTok, and pretty interesting things going on in that space. Some interesting stories around RayBan and safety around AI. We are going to talk about video ad and what the consumer want to see on your video ad, which I think was kind of an interesting twist to that. And then the last story is going to be about Fanatics. But before we go there, Matt, have you seen what the Docker strike has been about?
The dock strike was resolved. The East Coast dock strike was resolved, I think, this morning or even last night. There was a lot of conversations about how that will affect the economy going into the fourth quarter, the whole thing. So it was resolved. It's wonderful news. It won't affect anyone as far as short-term fourth quarter dynamics. But out of this, if it went on, if the dock strike went on, there are items that were at risk. And Nicholas, I like to ask you, out of these items, what would you miss the most?
Oh,
all right,
my God, I'm ready.
The items most at risk were bananas, cherries,
Okay.
seafood, alcohol, and cocoa imports, which I assume means coffee.
Okay.
So bananas, cherries, seafood, alcohol, or cocoa imports. What would affect you the most?
Cocoa is probably not coffee, right? It's probably like a chocolate. From that because it's mostly coming from Africa. But
Yeah.
I will definitely say bananas. I have a young kid, and banana would have been a mess. Do you know that banana is actually the number one most sold SKU in groceries?
I do. And
It's
the
crazy,
prices are
isn't it?
going through the roof, and I eat a banana almost every day.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to do it anymore because I know the prices are so high.
Oh, why don't we get started? Let's go.
All right.
All right, everybody, this is Nico. Sorry for the technical difficulties we're going to have today. Super excited to be here. I'm with Eastreamly, the live stream and video commerce company that gets you live on your website, across social media, email, SMS, obviously not only live, but also video shopping, video commerce. So excited to be here. I'm here with my great friend, Matt from E6 Marketing, the company that gets you on QVC and HSN. Great to see you all today. We got a lot of story to unpack. Obviously, it's been an interesting week for many fronts. And so, Matt, before we get started, why don't you tell us what the show is about?
Yeah. So again, welcome to the VCommerce podcast. Nicholas and I talk each week, each Friday morning, talking about the top 4 stories of video commerce. So what is video commerce? It's the video commerce video selling platform that started with direct response television. Started with infomercials, it graduated to QVC and HSN, and now you could sell and buy and shop through your phone, through your tablet, through your computers. So video commerce is a growing dynamic that Nicholas and I both work in. We cover 4 quick topics for you for the week. Hopefully you're entertained, hopefully you're informed, and move forward with a little bit more education in the video commerce space. So Nicholas, you jumped on, I know we were late to start, but as soon as we jumped on our call up in our prep, you were excited about this TikTok story, which is really could be a possible game changer for the whole dynamic of revenue sharing and creating revenue for companies. Tell us what happened.
Absolutely. So TikTok just released, I think it was like last week. They had been on beta for some time, but it's a video search ad program. So basically, this is the idea of like you can go on TikTok, and basically on TikTok, what they found is that over 23% of users are actually searching with the search bar within 30 seconds of opening the app. So people are using the search very heavily. And so what they just did is, like, as you can see on this video, is like you may be going to the app, going to the search, putting a thing, and then you've got a sponsored post that is showing up in your search, in your quadrant of 4 product on the 4 videos, and one of them is a sponsored one. And obviously, so this is giving an opportunity for merchant not only to use TikTok as an ad platform for through the algorithm, but also targeting through keyword and search keywords, which is pretty interesting. The other stat that I thought was quite interesting, and I'll be honest with you, did surprise me somewhat, is that 57% of all users are using the search on a regular basis. So, people are going to TikTok, they are searching, and so that's just a new way of monetizing. I'm personally, when I go to TikTok, I mean, I don't have the app installed anymore for some time, but when I was going to TikTok, I was just getting there and just going to the rabbit hole of looking at content and letting me having the algo drive for me. I found it quite interesting that search is such a big thing. But at the same time, we know during Prime Day and we know that people are using TikTok as the way also to get informed. And so I'm not surprised that search is such a big deal from that standpoint.
Well, YouTube YouTube and Google kind of based their whole business model in the beginning off of search. So it makes complete sense to me. My question to you is this going to take the onus a little bit off of the influencer to create the dynamic of revenue, or is this going to enhance it?
It's an interesting thing, right? And this question kind of tied up with one of those story I want to bring on later. I think the creator will still have their place in this ecosystem, but I think it's when you think about why do you do a search, right? Like you're searching for something particular. Maybe now you can actually, maybe brands will have very targeted UGC or videos toward the search and certain keyword that they look for. Maybe they know better that if you get a review for when you search for a certain type of beauty thing, that might lead to sales and everything. But I think the discoverability that TikToks offer will still be prevalent, and I do see, and I do think that that will be still the primary way for creator and for brands to be on the platform. I don't think it's going to be a search play, and all the traffic is going to go through search.
I think it's going to affect it. And my opinion has always been, and I kind of grew up with the dynamic of product is king. So it didn't really matter who was selling the product. If it was a great product, it was a great value. That was where the customer went. So if this affects the dynamic of the influencer, I think it's a overall healthy dynamic. I really do. Taking the pressure off of the influencer, pointing the onus onto the product, and then you get more education, more demonstration, more illustration about what you're talking about. What does the product do for the end user? And I think that's a healthy thing.
Absolutely. Before you go to the next story, I just want to say hi to Edna for watching us. Thank you for being here. We love, and feel free to contribute and tell us what you think about this story as well. Go on, Matt.
Yeah. Thank you, Edna, for tuning in. My story was about the RayBan smart glasses, and we've talked about this. RayBan and Meta are both creating smart glasses, and I think I saw Zuckerberg comment this week that he thinks it's going to replace the phone eventually. These glasses. So the technology is just in its early infancy. But the story I read this morning, which was interesting, was 2 Harvard students used the glasses as a way of basically stealing identities. They use the glasses and they access people's mailing addresses or actual addresses, their parents' names, pictures in quick minutes, very, very quickly. And they just wanted to prove a point that AI isn't all that it's cracked up to be, or it's more than people are letting on as what's going to affect it and how we're going to be affected by it. Now, on this show, we've talked about this a lot. Artificial intelligence, I'm a little afraid of it. I think the opportunities and the craziness of what could go on is obvious to me from growing up in the 80s and 90s and kind of how movies touched upon it. And that's how I grew up. I know it's a never ending. It's going to happen. It's happening. It's going to enhance our lives in some way, shape, or form. But these kids from Harvard made a really good illustrative point of the negative concept or the negative, what can come out of artificial intelligence.
I mean, it's inevitable, right? But with every new technology, new evolutions, there's always going to be abuse. And the idea is that do you want to I think it's important for us to embrace that innovation, because I think it's going to unleash a lot of opportunity for many of us. And I'm personally super bullish on AI, on those new classes that you've seen. I mean, it's pretty incredible the level of interaction you can have with the digital world without being and still being consistent. Because at the end of the day, what are we doing today? We're doing this, right? We're talking to each other and we're putting an interface in between us. Now, if that interface, instead of being black, is just small glasses that everyone's wear, now the question is, are people going to want to wear glasses or not? Or was it going to be like so intrusive? But you wear glasses every day, but it's for a different reason. It's just like I do think that this evolution where we are heading is quite exciting. It's still a lot of unknown. And is it going to replace phone? We don't know. But certainly a lot of things going to change in the next 5 to 10 years as how we engage. We may not have to do a live stream like this anymore. It will probably be maybe like, will we do it on our glasses directly? It's pretty exciting to see kind of the opportunity and the challenge. What's interesting too is that when you think of it from a brand perspective, and I was thinking about this, like, what's it going to mean to engage through some of those digital interface that they are building? How is live shopping is going to evolve there? Are we going to have a show on the corner of the eyes while we're doing other thing? And how are we going to be able to shop? Because it's all, are we going to put a credit card by thinking of it or something? I mean, it's kind of crazy, but we're going to a place which is quite interesting and quite very forefront from a future perspective.
you just reminded me of something. My partner and I had a meeting with RayBan about QVC and HSN maybe 8 years ago, and we talked about a technology that they were bringing out that the customer watching the show could put the glasses on virtually and see how it looks on their face. And recently I've read articles about clothing and about all kinds of apparel that the customer can actually virtually try on before they make the purchase. So that kind of thing, that kind of dynamic that you mentioned is a very healthy dynamic, more education for the consumer. She's making it a more informed decision. She knows what it'll look like, or at least simulate what it looks like on her body. So that's a good thing. When it comes to commerce, it's good. I just hope before these glasses go mainstream that there's a security wall there somehow, some way that protects public information. Or I'm sorry, private information. So it doesn't, that whole aspect doesn't go nuts.
Yeah. So interesting. All right. Well, why don't we go to the next story? This is an interesting story that I popped from emarketer. So I don't know if you saw that, Matt, but it's a story that was published publication date 17 on the September. So it's fairly recent, like maybe 2 weeks ago. But it's showcasing about what does U.S. consumer wants to see in a video commerce ad when shopping. And what I was very surprised about, and you tell me, Matt, what you think of this. The number one thing that 59% of respondents say, detail on cost and promotion. So obviously you're pushing an ad, you're pushing an ad, but most ads that I see today are really on video commerce are really focusing on, I have a really good creative that do what is the number thing that people wants to say, a clear product demo and details. And that's what people are pushing for the ad as the creative. But 59% of people wants to see detail on cost and promotion. I was kind of surprised with that number personally. I mean, if you think of it, it's an ad, so you probably are trying to grab the attention of that user for something very specific. But no, I thought it was an interesting study. The number third is the visual appeal and emotional appeal. Nothing very fancy here, comparison between product. I mean, the rest is pretty normal, I will say. But just having this idea of like, hey, if you're showing me an ad, my first interest is to see cost and promotion. That was kind of the shocker because I don't think a lot of ads out there from a video commerce perspective are focusing on that, at least on social media. Your thought on that, Matt?
Yeah, no. Point of purchase is that you have to know the cost. So this point of view is that they're making a point of purchase decision, a decision based on an ad. And we used to think, or we grew up in my marketing classes and advertising classes, you have to touch on emotion first and then the sale second. So this changes the dynamic a little bit of how people like you and I probably grew up in the education of hook the customer with a marketing story or some kind of emotional story, and then talk about the details of the product and the price. So this makes me think that this younger consumer is making quicker impulse purchase decisions than even 10 and 20 years ago, which is exciting and also daunting, because you have to put the value dynamic up front. You have to make that an important aspect of what you do. And some of these young TikTok shop businesses don't use that as a point of growth. It's just, it is what it is. They make their margin. They think if the product is available, the product will come, or the customer will come. And I don't think that's true.
Well, one thing though that you could argue, counter argue against that. I don't know if you know this guy, Marcus Sheridan is a pretty active and predominant marketer out there that's talking about SEO and talking about many things. And one of his points around cost and promotion, one of his main argument when we talk about this is like, well, people want to see value, but maybe what more important is like people want to understand your price. And if they do understand the price and how you constructed that price, they are getting that information and being able to make that decision, is that of value. And if you think about what Mark Cuban is doing with his cost plus model, where basically not only while he's getting the drug cheaper, but he's really pushing out like, okay, this is how it costs to actually make this product. This is the cost of manufacturing. This is the cost of the margin we're making. This is the cost of supply and handling. And this is the cost of shipping. Making that fully transparent, give the consumer this understanding of what is the value chain, what are things. And maybe it's not about discounting. It's about being more upfront about what are the costs and what are the customer getting for that. And I think that might be a counter argument of like, you don't need to specifically discount if that's not your strategy. And maybe it's just laying out the way you think about cost and why is that cost there. I think everyone agrees that we all need to make money at some point. That's why we are here to live and to think. So maybe having a little bit of transparency could be the thing. Obviously, there are some brands that will never do that, and there's many reasons for why they won't do that. But maybe it's an argument that a small creator on TikTok, for instance, as you're talking about, could think about and roll out.
That's diving deep, and you're giving the consumer a lot of onus, a lot of respect in that, and thinking that way. That'd be amazing if they do. I personally think that a lot of the shopping that we talk about on TikTok Shop and what QVC and HSN does, impulse purchase, is it a value for me? Are you giving me a discount? And is it a product I want to buy? So, I disagree with that graphic a little bit. I think emotion is an important aspect to what live shopping is about. You have to kind of bring them into the conversation, and then you talk about the price and the offer and all that kind of thing. But either way, if you're selling on your website, if you're selling through different apps, you have to understand that the details on cost are prevalent to being successful or not successful. Our last story I wanted to talk about, and it just came out yesterday. Fanatics is a big sports business through all aspects of sports. Fanatics is based in Pennsylvania, based out of Philadelphia. They've gotten into Fanatics. They have an arm of their company called Fanatics Live that launched last year with a focus of live selling of sports collectibles. So they sell cards. They sell different kinds of collectibles. They sell Pokemon cards, not just sports. And they partnered with a company out of Europe called Vogt, VOGGT, to help them with the dynamic of integrating creative and creator communities and creator commerce. So you could go on that app now, Fanatics Live, working through this Vogt company and connect with other collectors, other shoppers, other people selling their products, and interact semi-seamlessly while you're breaking cards and talking about the collector's dynamic. So I think if Fanatics isn't already on the radar when it comes to live commerce, it should be. They're just a major player in the sports industry, and just like all other industries that we know in retail, they're getting involved in video commerce in a big way.
Yeah, absolutely. What I like about the Fanatics is kind of the style, how those streams are done, right? It's very much this gaming aspect. Everyone is sitting on a chair, like the way we are today. but like on their gaming chair, and then sharing the stuff. There's typically two cameras going on. One was showcasing the product more up front, and then one is like focusing on the person, individuals.
Exactly.
It's kind of an interesting way of seeing this dynamic. And then you see the chat. What's interesting is like the company is extremely successful, but as you can see, they don't have a lot of viewers per stream, right? Right now we're just streaming. Obviously, it's Friday. It's 11:34. You could consider it's a prime time for somewhere in America where it's we're close to lunch, so it should get a pick up on. But this stream only has 86 viewers. And so for a lot of brands, like they may say, oh, well, 86 viewers, not a lot, but it's actually pretty good because those users are really engaged. As you can see, the chat has been going on, and it's like super, super engaged users. And so sometimes you don't need that thousands of viewers. What you need is the 86 that are all going to make a purchase. So that's what I think. And I think that's where what I've been told is that Fanatics is very small group of people, very small communities, but they are like super engaged. And then the purchasing is really high. So
the collectibles world is just immense. And now remember, Fanatics has a lot of divisions. Fanatics Live is less than a year old. So they're just getting involved with this whole dynamic. To your point, Fanatics Live has a small group of people running it right now, but it's growing. It's growing every day. What you see on the screen here, if you're watching our show on LinkedIn or Facebook, that's called breakers. So they actually have a camera over their hands and open up a pack of cards and show the cards one by one out of that pack. It is a completely different way of video commerce. And it's interesting. It's a little jarring to me. I'm not used to this kind of dynamic with selling product. And I'm like, what is this when I first started looking at it? But it's effective and it grabs the customer's attention. Yeah. And I've seen behind the scenes studios of like 15 or 20 different breakers in the room in like a warehouse space with little tables, with little lights, with little cameras all over the place. And they're selling different things. Like this is a big business. If you're involved or you're interested in sports collectibles, this kind of dynamic is becoming the place to purchase product.
Yeah, I personally, for me, like I always been looking at this like quite interested, but I don't know how to value any of those cards, so I have no idea what the economics, how it works, and everything. But yeah, it's certainly fascinating to watch. I never really collected anything, so but I see the engagement and I see the fun it could be, and yeah, like the community are like so deep, strong, and it's really cool. There's a lot of things going on there happening. It's really interesting to watch.
In my world, the collectibles were huge in the 90s and the 2002 till 2010. Then it's kind of gone away, and the last 5 years or so, it's come back strong, mainly with sports collectibles, but all types of collectibles. So it's a dynamic that you should pay attention to, especially in the video commerce space.
Well, Matt, it's been an amazing episode. We're trying to bring more and more of those visual as we're doing since last week. More and more, we're trying to do that better. So I hope you like that. We are here every Friday on LinkedIn. We are reposting afterward on YouTube, but we're also there on Facebook. So you can always follow us there. If you're interested about the live shopping video commerce, please make sure you comment and tell us what is your thing and your passion around the space. You can also make some suggestion. If you see some news, we started to receive from a couple of our followers some news that they saw in the week, so we can talk about it. So feel free to do that as well. We'd love to hear from you. And if one day you want to come up on the show, just raise your hand and tell us. We are here every Friday on LinkedIn. We are also posting on the Live E-commerce podcast. And on the Live E-commerce podcast, every 2 weeks on Tuesday, we're releasing a new episode with some really awesome guests. If you know a guest, also feel free to reach out. Thank you, Matt, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And now you've been a fantastic followers today. A lot of posts and everything. So great to have you. And we will see you again next Friday. Bye, you all.
Bye-bye.